Hey friends, it's Emily. And so here's the deal. I took this device today from the Apple store and I brought it home so that I could give it a whirl and try it out with my kids. And what happened is that pretty much like one of them wasn't that interested and then the other one was super interested. So we tried to get started with it and we got pretty far. But I have to say that actually like after probably already being like almost an hour and a half into the setup and doing this at home, I think this is definitely like a one-person setup. And there were some real aha moments where I was able to, move my screens around, where I was able to reposition things, and I was really enjoying that a whole lot. I was seeing very quickly how if your content is not crisp and if your content is low poly, low res, any of those things, it is going to really show. So if you're creating really bad panoramas and you have really bad parallax or really bad stitching, that's all going to be extremely visible. So like other people have said it, but I really do think that this is an unforgiving device when it comes to that imagery and when it comes to that quality. The other thing I can tell you is that we were having a lot of glitches originally in setup, and I think it was just because we didn't quite have I was using my phone to record, and so I didn't have my ideal setting because then I had to, or set up settings, because then I had to switch to the iPad. But once I was able to get through everything and once I was able to get into the apps area, I could tell that the other thing I was going to need was a lot more time. So I feel like the folks who've been reviewing this and who have been saying like, hey, I've been in it for 12 hours or I've been in this for 2 days. Well, yeah, no big surprise there, because it's going to take a long time to get oriented to it. So some of my friends who are other journalists who have been reviewing this, you need to set some time aside for yourself. This is not a jump in and play, quick, mobile, intuitive thing. And in fact, I felt like I was having, at least at the beginning, wanting to swipe and wanting to just use hand gestures like any gesture, but instead you're learning a sign language. This is not American Sign Language. This is ASL, Apple Sign Language. And so I really want you to think about the fact that you need to be fluent in the Apple Sign Language before you start using this device with any fluency. And that is not so easy. Now, I have an astigmatism, which means that I have a little bit of like one eye that tracks not exactly the same as the other, which cannot be corrected with glasses. So I was definitely feeling like with that astigmatism and with and not the correction was totally fine, but just with a little bit of astigmatism, I was definitely feeling like with the video pass through, I was having like a little bit of like almost double vision clippiness happening, and I don't know if that was because of me or if that was because of the way that the hand tracking works. Now, the other thing I can tell you is that the weight is definitely a thing. So there's some girth, there's some there's some heft to this guy, and wearing it for a long time, it was too much for my almost 10-year-old to keep on their head without feeling like it got really heavy really, really quickly. The incredible clarity of the video, so beautiful. The pass-through, gorgeous. The ability for us to, once we get like native ASL, Apple Sign Language, I think that it'll be fine, and we will all start doing that in the same way that we can like swipe and tap and pinch and zoom, and all of that becomes natural. But the pinch and zoom of yesterday and of everything I thought before I put this thing on today has really changed. Now, gestures in Meta, initially, I actually think that the MetaQuest gestures might be a little more intuitive. Now, that may be because I have been using MetaQuest and Rift for so many years, and so that's just natural for me. So I think it's just like oh, really, you can tell that this is the difference between, and people have said it already, like an Android versus an Apple, right? So we're really seeing the bifurcation of those two software development teams, or more like psychographics and philosophies towards this really start to diverge, which they should. But as a user, it's like, where is the universality? Where is the thing that I feel like I'm just going to jump in and be confident? Like, do I feel like this is a device that I can just like hand over to my mom, who is going to be having a big birthday this year, and have her just be able to go crazy with it? No, I can't. I don't think so. Not quite yet. And I think that's because of all the sensors and all of the personalized data that you have to put in. Now, I don't know yet exactly, because I didn't see, like when you start your computer up, like on the OS, you have this, is it a guest user or is it the main user? And okay, so my kid put it on before me, so maybe I missed one of those cues in the beginning, but I really felt like there was a moment where it would have been really nice to have been able to have just toggled between a user and just moved it right over to guest. So I probably just haven't figured that out yet, but I honestly felt like that was not so intuitive, and even still, having to hand it over to somebody who then has to type in the passcode for themselves, that wasn't so easy. So that's because you have to kind of already have an idea how to do the pinching or how to do the selection. And even if you had audio assist on, I think that is not exactly going to be like a quick, like, oh, I got this. On the other hand, some things that were really intuitive, I would say the familiarity of the apps, the familiarity of seeing my home screen in 3 dimensions. Like, it wasn't my home screen, but it was really like the apps from your phone. And that, my friends, was so, so, so cool. And obviously the elegance of the product, the elegance of having this product be here and having be something that I can play with, and I can have an extended amount of time to get to become familiar with all of it. That part is great, but certainly, I would say don't expect to like jump right in. It's a little bit like skiing. Like, yeah, you're gonna need to like put the skis on. You can hold all the controllers, you can hold your poles, you can have your skis on, but you're gonna flail. You're actually gonna flail at first, because the feeling of success isn't gonna come until you've had either somebody show you the ropes, or you've had enough time to like, I guess, trial and error your way through how this thing actually works. So I feel like I'm not deterred, and I'm excited to keep going. But anybody who has thought that this is going to be like an iPhone where you just power it up and you start swiping, it's not. And it's also something that I think you're going to need to invest a lot of time into to be able to have those fluencies. I'm going to say it again, like I feel like it's Apple Sign Language. Maybe they already coined that term, but I haven't heard anybody else say that, but that's what it feels like to me. And again, like I'm going to keep sharing it with my kids, because I feel like my impressions of it, it's almost like I've seen so much in VR, and I've seen so many headsets, and the difference between XR and AR, and well, not the difference between XR, but the difference between VR and AR, that this is really blending those realities for me. And I'm excited to see what else the apps are going to do. I'm super excited to try a couple of apps that some friends have pointed out to me. And make a phone call with one of my friends. Hopefully I'll do that tomorrow, and we'll chat with each other with our personas. So more coming, but I guess at first blush, yeah, I like it. I don't know if I love it yet, but I really like it. And the other thing was that I felt like I also had a little hesitation, like total honesty. Like I had a little bit of a hesitation when I walked into the store today at the Apple store, and I saw some people sitting next to me who had it on and were getting the demo. And I was like, can I do this? Like, can I really do this? So I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to give you guys the look, okay, wait, I gotta stretch out the headband here, but I got to give you the full look of how I look with this thing on, and I'm sure I look amazing. I mean, just kidding. But tightening it up, tucking the hair back, it passes the pony test, kind of, and, oh, I see, this is where my son got stuck. Yeah, so he was in with support and he couldn't get through it. And so I think that this is what happened, is that the gestures just weren't intuitive right away for him. And so he didn't know. And also I'm like, how do I get out of, like, how do I quickly escape into the real world? Okay, I got it now. So yeah, so again, like just practicing and getting used to this is going to take a little bit for me. I've seen people walking around outside. I would never in a million years trying to go for a walk with this thing. I think that would be super dangerous because it's not meant for use outside right now. I think people are doing that for likes, and they're doing that for clicks, and they're doing that for attention to kind of just like wow the masses. I think you could test it outside in a safe environment, but I think it would be ludicrous to try and do this anywhere other than a place where you are stationary and there's just too much moving, right? Like there's too much happening, even as you try to move things around, or you try to like look at the corner, grab the thing and bring it around. There's just too much going on for me to feel like right away that I would want to step out into public wearing this. But I don't mind sharing it with you. So anyway, please let me know if you have any questions. If you want me to test something, I'm happy to do that. This is for us to explore what Apple Vision Pro has in store for us. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'll keep trying it on. I'll keep trying it out. And thanks so much. Have a good day. I'm excited that I got it, but I definitely feel like, it's going to take some getting used to. Thanks. Bye.